क्या आपको पता है कि 500 बिलियन कप्स ऑफ कॉफी आर कंज्यूम्ड ग्लोबली एवरी ईयर? कॉफी दुनिया का सेकंड मोस्ट ट्रेडेड कमोडिटी है आफ्टर क्रूड ऑयल। बट क्या आपने कभी सोचा है कि कॉफी को ग्रो करने का एनवायरमेंटल इम्पैक्ट क्या है बिसाइड्स द विजिबल वेस्ट ऑफ द अननेसेसरी टू गो कप्स? टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट, वी फर्स्ट नीड टू गेट इनटू व्हाई इट्स ग्रोन द वे दैट इट इज. In today's episode of Sustainably Yours, we'll talk about how the demand for cheap coffee leads to the loss of biodiversity, the quality of the coffee, acres of rainforests and jobs too. So coffee दो तरीके से grow होता है, sun-grown and shade-grown. Shade-grown cultivation, like the name suggests, is coffee that's grown under the shade of larger trees and foliage. It's the traditional system of growing it that prioritizes a biodiverse landscape to build a healthy habitat for coffee plants as they prefer shade when they grow in the wild. It requires fewer chemicals and mechanized input, and the trees that are intercropped with coffee not only provide shade, but they also have the potential to sequester carbon from the atmosphere. Whereas sun-grown coffee relies on large swaths of closely planted crops that are then grown without the protection of shade trees, doused in chemical herbicides and pesticides, and then harvested in one fell swoop using expensive technology. This technified production method was kick-started in the 1970s and 80s by neoliberal policies championed by the United States Agency for International Development and the World Bank, which wanted to industrialize supply chains to increase yields and drive down prices. Coffee is naturally an understory plant that requires shade offered by trees to protect its leaves from browning and burning. But over time, through selectively breeding the coffee bush, farmers were able to develop a coffee strain which can be grown in full sun, which allowed a more profitable and larger harvest. Most of the coffee you find in stores is sun-grown. The strain is called Robusta and is sun-tolerant and chemical-resistant, while Arabica is the shade-grown coffee strain, and you can proudly say that India is one of the largest exporters of shade-grown coffee in the world. About 40% of the world's coffee is grown under full sun conditions and 35% under partial sun conditions. According to Conservation International, every cup of sun-grown coffee contributes to approximately 3 centimeter cubes of forest deforestation, which might not seem like much, but adds up to 310 meter cubes of deforested land per day. Even though millions of people around the world rely on coffee to begin their day, most of them aren't aware of the difference between these two strains, and their demand for more affordable coffee creates a pressure on the industry to produce more sun-grown strains than shade-grown, given that the former has more yields and grows faster, albeit is of lower quality. Here's why making sure you drink shade-grown coffee will help the world. Transitioning back to traditional shade-grown coffee would result in reforestation in order to provide a natural canopy for the coffee plants on land where trees have been cut down to create full sun coffee plantations. Not only does planting more trees result in carbon sequestration, it also provides homes for migratory birds. There has been roughly a 20% decline in migratory bird population since 1972 due to large-scale deforestation for sun-grown coffee plants. Another beneficial impact of shade-grown coffee is the reduction of soil erosion. This is due to the protective canopy of trees and their roots that minimize soil erosion resulting from heavy rainfall, especially in steeper landscapes from high-altitude plantations. Leaves from trees also provide the soil with essential nutrients and help to maintain a healthy soil structure. In a study done in Nicaragua, it was estimated that sun-exposed coffee farms lost 2.5 times more soil than shaded farms from the same hillside. The difference between shaded coffee farms and sun-exposed farms' impact on the wildlife is astounding. According to a study done in Guatemala, overall bird abundance was 30% greater in shaded farms and bird diversity was 15% greater than in sun farms. Having a greater abundance and diversity of birds is important for the coffee plants themselves because birds can drive away unwanted pests from harming the coffee plants. Shade coffee farms also provide habitats for other species, including bats, which help to control pests, and bees, which help to pollinate coffee plants. Interestingly, the abundance of honey bees directly affects coffee fruits, with a larger abundance resulting in higher coffee fruit set and weight. These animals, along with the natural barrier the canopy of trees provides, takes away the need for chemical pesticides, which often causes more harm than good. Insecticides and herbicides can often end up contaminating surrounding water sources, soil, and affect the farmers growing the coffee. In addition to sustainability and ecological benefits, growing coffee in the shade also impacts the flavor, caffeine level, acidity, and the quality of the coffee beans. Since shade-grown coffee matures at a slower rate than sun-grown coffee, it develops more natural sugars, which enhances the flavor. This slower pace also minimizes both the caffeine content and the acidity of the coffee, resulting in a smoother taste and less negative effects on the body, such as jitters and stomach aches. The more you choose shade-grown coffee over sun-grown coffee, the more the industries will switch to producing the sustainable strain. So happy coffee drinking!